This podcast is all about shining light on the real struggles and joys of life. We will have real experiences, real people, and real stories in the hopes that they motivate you and help you in your own journey. This is the One World, Countless Stories podcast with Selina Novello. Today I have a special episode for you all, and it is 21 lessons that I have learned in my 20 years of life. And since it was my birthday the other day, I am so excited. I was reflecting and I had some time to sit down and really think about some of the most profound and big lessons that I've learned so far. And it's been really, really hard for me to just come up with 21. And I kind of had to sift through it and really pick through like some of the ones that I feel like are the most impactful, because within my 20 years of life, I have learned so much, like a crazy amount of knowledge. And there's just so many things that I would tell. And that's why we're going to start having a couple more solo episodes, because I love sharing the knowledge that I learn. I don't like to keep it a secret, because when I find growth or peace or figure out a tactic that worked for something, I want to share it with you guys, because I'm very passionate about learning and growing and then sharing it and communicating it with the world. So I'm excited that you're here. I wanted to say thank you so much for showing up bi-weekly to this podcast, listening to the stories that are shared on here, because they truly are life-changing. And you can listen to these people's stories and pull from the stories what you need to take from them. And I just think that they're so beautiful. And I can't wait for the episodes that are coming out in the end of this year, but also in the new year as well. We have some amazing guests, and they just share so vulnerably and openly and give such concrete, good advice. And not only advice, but we hear their story, which gives us hope to keep going and that there's a rainbow at the end of the storm. So thank you for being here. Really quickly before we jump into the episode, if you haven't already, please subscribe, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, anything you can do to help this podcast out so it can reach more people and become a bigger impact. One of my favorite things to do is podcasting. It sparks something in me. So if I could do podcasting, just podcasting for the rest of my life, oh my gosh, I'd be one happy girl. So I intend on keep podcasting until I can, because I just love it so much. I love connecting, and I love that people are so vulnerable and talk so courageously about their life stories. And I'm a passionate storyteller. So I love it. So if you could help me in moving the needle, sharing this episode with someone that you feel might benefit from it, any of those things, or even sharing it on social media, any of those things is so helpful. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful for you guys. And let's get started with the 21 lessons. Oh, hold on. Before I start, I always get too excited. At the end of this podcast, I have a conversation with two of my friends from school. So I was ready to record this, and I was with them, and they were like, "Oh, can we be on the podcast?" And I was like, "Well, you got to be serious." They really shocked me, because they are normally like giggly, nothing too serious, but they actually got down into it. And I asked them two questions, and one of them was about just general advice. And then the other one is, what advice would you give your younger self? Because those are my two favorite questions. But since we're on the topic of me sharing lessons and things that I feel are important, I thought it would be perfect to ask them similar questions. And so there's going to be a little clip bit of that at the end as well. So get excited for it. It was very impromptu, and we're going to have them back for their very own episode. But this is just a little taste of what they've got to bring. And it was pretty amazing. So I'm very excited. So stay to the end. We've got that. And also some of the last tips, the 21st tip, the 20th tip. Those are some of my favorite pieces of advice. So make sure you stay till the end. All right, let's go. Let's get started. Okay, so the first lesson that I've learned is that you can do and be anything you want. Where did I learn this lesson? Well, my parents installed that into me, that no matter what, I could do anything I wanted to, and I could be whoever I wanted to be. But as a little girl, I truly didn't believe it all so much, because I struggled so much in school. And I really, really struggled. And I was like, I don't know if I can actually do anything, because I didn't even pass kindergarten, guys. I did kindergarten twice. So when I was younger, there was a lot of evidence against I couldn't do it. in the context of I couldn't do school. And so I finally got the help that I needed, and I went into a school special for kids with learning disabilities. So my learning disabilities are poor working memory, dyslexia, and generalized anxiety. But I didn't know this into very far into my school career, because every time I would get tested, because my parents knew that something wasn't right, they would just be like, oh, she's fine. She'll figure it out. But no, I actually wasn't fine. And I actually did have some things that were blocking me. And the coolest thing is, once you figure out what's wrong, and then you can really analyze how you can make it better. So I could not read, and I couldn't do simple math. And this made so much sense once we found out what my learning disabilities were. And then I was able to get the tools I needed to succeed. So I went to a school special that was special for kids with learning disabilities, and it changed everything because I was given the tools that I needed to succeed. And then that is where I truly believed that you can do anything you put your mind to. And it doesn't matter if you have a disability, a learning disability, something, a limiting belief, you can still do. It takes a little bit longer maybe, but you can still do anything that anyone else can do. And you can be whoever you want if you put the work and effort in. And so that was one of a lesson that I learned fairly early on in my life. And the second lesson is perfection is unrealistic and not attainable. This took me so long to learn. And I still have a perfectionist inside of me. It's just a little bit more quiet, and I have a little more conversation with it, because being a perfectionist, it controlled my whole life. So once I figured out that I could actually learn, I was like, well, now I need to be perfect at it. And I need to be the best student, and I need to be the best at every single thing I do. And I was striving for perfection. I'm going to raise my hand and say I was that person who got upset when they got a 98 on a test. Why is that? Because it wasn't 100%. It wasn't perfect. And I get other people were like, oh, that person always makes me so mad. But to give you some perspective where I was coming from, it was like, you're so close to being perfect, and yet you're not. And so you got one question wrong, and it was the end of the world. Like, what did I do wrong? How did I get this wrong? And this specifically showed up for me in math, because I love math. It's very black and white thinking, right answer, wrong answer. This is how you get to that answer. And when I would get a 98 on a test, I'd be like, no, what did I do wrong? So close. Because there's often ways in math, there's often ways to check if you got the right answer as well within the information you're given. So even though I'm not good at simple math, I just need a calculator, but I love figuring out and solving puzzles. But yeah, that showed up in math. But in my whole school career, I was always trying to achieve perfection. I truly, genuinely was trying to achieve perfection. And it's just something that's not attainable. And the earlier that you realize that, the sooner you will be set free. Because I wish perfect wasn't even a word, because it truly is not attainable. It shouldn't be something that we even strive for, because we can work hard and do all the things, but we will simply never achieve perfection, because we are all humans. We make mistakes, and I don't want to be perfect. I want to be imperfect, because that's what makes me special. That's what makes me unique. And that's what gives me lessons and guides and helps me through my life. So that is the second lesson. The third lesson is gratitude is a very powerful tool. You will see more beauty all around you and be less anxious and become more happy. And so gratitude is a practice that I've been in a lot of times, and I've heard a lot of things about it, and all of the gurus of motivational speakers, they all say gratitude, ground yourself in gratitude. But when I'm telling you, if you're anxious, you're worried, and you just get grateful, you think, what am I grateful for today? It could be as simple as, I'm grateful for the sunset when I was driving in this morning. I am grateful that I got my coffee. I am grateful that I have the opportunity to learn. Your anxiousness just seems to dissipate. You just truly can't be grateful and anxious at the same time. And you do become more happy because you realize what you have. And I'm really trying to get into a gratitude practice every morning. What am I grateful for as soon as I wake up? At the end of the day, what was I grateful for? Because when I'm in a state of gratitude, everything feels like it's going to be okay. Because a lot of times everything can feel like a lot, especially right now when I'm doing school and 2 part-time jobs and all my passion projects, and everything can feel like too much a lot of the time. And so when I get grateful and I see what I do have, oh my gosh, the world of a difference. And so that's why my third lesson is gratitude is very powerful and really can change the way that you see the world. It truly can. Lesson number 4. Oh, I love this one. It's kind of contradicting to one of my other ones, but you'll get it in the context. So, nobody cares what you do. Stop holding yourself back because you care what others think of you. Just start. Start being yourself. Start being yourself. Don't hold back. And I just think of this in this context. So I am somebody who used to be afraid of filming in public. Like I would rather just film where there's nobody watching. But honestly, I could walk by like a group of people recording on my phone on campus, and maybe they'll say one comment, but in like 5 seconds later, they don't care. Nobody really cares what you're doing. And in that sense, it's like, it's okay to have temporary embarrassment. And I actually learned this lesson from one of my friends that I met while I was in Europe. And I had her on the podcast, and she said that, temporary, oh, what did she say? Something about like, embarrassment is only temporary. So just go and live your life and take the risks and take the actions. And I love that in this lesson as well, that, like nobody cares. Like some people care, but like, we're also concerned what everybody thinks, but at the end of the day, we're also busy with our own problems that we don't really care that much. Like when I see somebody taking pictures on the side of the street, I'm like, pop off, queen. Like, yes, let's go. And other than that, I keep going and I go on with my day and I don't think of it anymore. And I just think that like there's people in my life that are like, I'm so afraid to film in public. And I'm like, dude, you just gotta do it. Nobody actually cares. But the thing is that it's also in that you gotta just live your life in temporary embarrassment. If you're at a Flames game and the Jumbotron thing is on you, you got to get up and give it your all and dance. And I would never find that embarrassing, but some might. But it's like nobody cares. Nobody even knows your name. Like it doesn't matter. And that had really, really helped me in this kind of area, like especially in my YouTube, where I was like, I'm just going to start filming wherever I am. Like I'm in the middle of Italy and I'm just going to start filming because like, why the heck not? Because I can. Um, so that's lesson number 4. Lesson number 5. All right. Are you ready for lesson number 5? Have an open mind and make mistakes. This one is the most important lesson, one of the most important lessons. You have to have an open mind and be able to make mistakes in life. And there's this quote that's like, act like an artist, but think, fail, and learn like a scientist, which I love. Recognize that your life is an experiment and you will live a life without fear or regret, because you are just testing things out. And I love that quote so much. And I wish I knew who it was by, but it's just so cool to think of it like be an artist. So flow freely, express yourself, but also think and fail and learn like a scientist. And when we look at our life in terms of an experiment, you will live without regret, which is so important. Like anything I do, I never regret it. I never regret anything I've ever done, because it all is all a building block onto what is to come. And everything that I've experienced in my life has made me who I am today. And of course, we're going to have the highs and the lows. And I talk about this a lot because it's so true. And I talk about it a lot because not everybody sees this. Like, I don't know, on social media, we all just share our highlights, and some people are sharing their lows, but it's really hard to share your lows. But we're seeing everybody's highs and we think everybody's life is perfect. But let me be the first to say that I have hard days. Even though it may look like something on the show, I have hard days. I'm constantly putting pressure on myself to post and be on Instagram and be present, and it's hard. And so I have good days and I have bad days, and you don't get to see the bad days because I'm simply stressed or busy and don't film it. Um, and so that's why it's like, have an open mind, make mistakes, but also realize that like we have to kind of go with the flow of life, and that there's going to be lows and there's going to be highs. All right, lesson number 6. Okay, this one is so good. So this is something I feel that I do that really benefits me. So this piece of advice is stay curious. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I think so often we're afraid to ask a question because we will look silly, but don't be afraid. Ask the question, but stay curious. And if you want something, ask for it. Ask the universe, ask the God, whatever you believe in. If you want something, go out and ask for it. Live with such an attitude and recognize that when a door opens, another will always. Oh, no, shoot. Sorry. Live with such an. There's this quote that I really, really love. So let me share it with you. Live with such an attitude, and you realize that when a door closes, another always opens. And that's everything that is meant for you will find you. It's such a powerful lesson. Like, there's kind of like 3, 4 parts within this one lesson. It's staying curious, asking questions, ask for what you want, go after what you want, and know that when a door closes, another one will always open. Something else will always come. And when you have a mindset like this, you believe that what is meant for me will find me. If I ask, I will receive. And that if something isn't working out, there will be another opportunity that will help you so much in your life, because it has truly helped me in my life. And I stay curious. I know that I'm not the smartest person, like, in certain fields. Like, I know where my strengths are, but I know where my weaknesses are. So I will ask. If I don't know something, I will ask for you to elaborate. I will stay curious. And I think that has helped me so much. And I think it really helps me in this podcast too, is I'm just so curious about people's lives and what they do. And so this piece of advice, there's like multiple parts to it, but I just really, really love that one. All right. Lesson number 7. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. I've already talked about this a little bit, but challenges, adversities, and failures are the greatest teachers we will have in life. Accept the highs and the lows. So like I was talking about in the last one, we have these highs and these lows, right? But it is so important that we experience the lows and we experience the highs. An example for you, last year when I took a year off of school, it was one of the hardest years of my life, but also one of the most beautiful. But I had to go through the dark night of the resting soul. I was really, really not doing good. I was at the lowest I've ever been, not believing in myself. I was very negative. And then I got to experience the fruit, the good stuff, and I got to go to Europe. But it was made so much more special because of what I had gone through. It had made every single tear, every single hardship, all the more worth it. And I could be more grateful and take it in with full open arms, because I was like, this just sucks. I had such a hard go there. And then I got to shine. And there's these quotes, and they're about like the darkness and there's the darkness and the stars, right? So there's a reason why we can only see light of the stars in the darkest of times. And I love that quote so much, because we always think like when we're going through something, it's like the end of the world, we have no value, but that's when we get the opportunity to shine. And I always think about it as that when I'm really struggling, I get the opportunity to then help somebody who struggled with the same thing after I've been through it. And so I love that, but it's something that you just got to accept. Like, this world's not fair. There's challenges, there's adversity. You're going to fail over and over again. You're going to make mistakes, but that's where we learn. That's where we grow. That is our greatest teacher in life. That is the 7th piece of advice. This one, lesson number 8, and this has been a journey to get to this lesson, but you have to believe in yourself before anyone else does. You are the only one that is with you for your whole life. You are constant, and you need to get to a point where you believe in yourself. And let me tell you, this has been one of the hardest things that I have done, and that it's taken me forever to get to this point where I do truly believe in myself today. And it goes up and down again. Some days I'm like, what am I doing? I don't believe in myself. But there's days. And what really helped me is that people would always say things to me and I never listened. They would be like, oh, you're so great. You're so amazing, right? And I just hear it and I just keep moving along. I never listened to it at all. And I went on my trip to Europe, and there were complete strangers saying things to me. And I'm like, maybe all these people that have been saying these things to me are right. Maybe I need to listen to them. Maybe I need to hear what they're saying. And I was like, that was kind of where I got this awakening, where I was like, I need to listen. I need to listen to what these people are saying to me, because they see something that I might not see. And so I started really, really, really taking in compliments and observing what was being said and being like, you know what? I am capable. I can do this. People see this in me. I am able to do something special and impactful in this world. And it takes a long time and it's never perfect, but believing in yourself first is so important because there's going to be times when nobody's watching, nobody's liking, nobody's listening, and you got to show up and you got to do the work and you got to do the things, and nobody's cheering for you, nobody's viewing your videos, and you're still posting and you're still going away and being consistent. And that is all to do that with because you believe in yourself, and things take time and you show up for yourself. And it takes a long time and a lot of work. Like I have done years of work to get to where I am today. Professional help, pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, so many things to get to where I am today. And that is why lesson number 8 is that you have to believe in yourself before anyone else does. All right, number 9. What is your definition of success, happiness, and being rich? What does success, happiness, and being rich mean to you? I think so often we're told what we want to be. And I learned in my psychology class that, happiness looks different for everyone and you have to truly define it. But when we come to success, we really do need to define what is successful for us, because we have this, what the world thinks successful is, maybe getting a degree, getting the house, getting the job that pays X amount of value, having the kids, having the wife, all these things. But what actually makes you happy, and what is actually success? What does success mean to you? And defining these things for myself has been such an important lesson that I've learned. But within this, it's also seek new experience and do things that you never thought you would do. Don't hold back, be unleashed. And that's like one of the other pieces of advice. It ties into it as well. But like there's so many times where we hold ourselves back because we're afraid. But we got to give it. We got to give it our all. This is one life, baby. We got to give it our all. Oh, just little accent. But it's so true that we need to define what success, happiness, and being rich means to you, and seek new experiences, because you'll learn so much within those new experiences. Before I traveled, I didn't know that traveling is success to me. Like I didn't know that when I'll be successful when I can travel, like more. That I didn't know that until I traveled, because I loved it and I tried something new. All right, lesson number 10. We're just about there. We're a little under halfway. All right, this one is a huge lesson, and I still struggle with this today. So it's a work in progress, but it is stop comparing yourself and your life to others. Create your own life of what you truly want. We have access to people's life on a different scale. We have people's lives on our phone, and we can compare more than ever. We can see that Becky just took a trip to Mexico and it was amazing. And I'm sitting here in Calgary and it's snowing at school and she's on the beach drinking mojitos or whatever, and she's living her best life. But we can easily compare. And I used to compare myself to others on a greater scale. I still do, because I feel like it, even though, we try our best not to, it's like almost like our natural response to look at what other people are doing and compare ourselves. But comparison is the greatest robber of joy, because we are all so different. And when we can just cherish each other for the gifts that we have, it becomes so much better, because you find so much peace, but you also become somebody who lifts others up, which I don't know about you, but that's somebody that I want to be. That's somebody who I am, where I'm like, I don't see anybody who is growing on social media at a fast rate. And I'm like, boo, like I can't do that as fast as you. I'm like, no, let's go, queen. Like pop off, like good for you. Like seriously, like you are getting the followers, you're doing the thing, you're doing it, you're leading by example. So why am I going to compare myself to you? Because we're so different. We're doing completely different things. But it happens, right? But comparison is the greatest robber of joy. And that is a lesson I learned and I'm still working on every day. All right. Lesson number 11, chasing happiness will lead you to misery. Be what you want now. Start acting how you want to feel now. If you want to be happy, start being happy now. Our mindsets have so much to do with this. Our mindsets control so much that we don't even know. Like our brains are such a powerful tool. And I think we underestimate it sometimes, because it genuinely is one of the most powerful tools. Like it genuinely is. And we have a lot of us have this mindset, and I used to have it, is like, when I do this, I will be happy. That's what I mean when chasing happiness. When I have this, I'll be happy. And it is awful because you're always waiting for these big milestones. But here's my question. Why can't you be happy right now? Why can't you be happy right now? It's a fair question. And so I want you to think of it in that way, where it's like, what am I saying? I will be happy once I have a car. I will be happy once I do this. I will be happy once I graduate. I will be happy once I'm in a relationship. But why aren't you happy right now? What can you do to shift, to change, that will make you happy right now? And it's often like, if you want to be someone, when you're manifesting, if you want to be someone, you need to become them today. You need to start acting the way that that person, that ideal person that you want to be, would act today. Getting up early, doing the work, whatever that is. You need to start being what you want to be now and stop chasing happiness, because guess what? You can be happy today. And it can be something so simple, but it truly is like a shift in mindset that we've been trained that, like, once I graduate, this is the biggest one. Once I graduate high school, then I'll be happy, then I'll be free. And we get trapped in this mindset so much. And I think that it's so important that we realize that we can be happy today, and we need to stop chasing that happiness. All right, lesson number 12. So, your entire life can change in an instant. Oh, this one's getting a bit real. Your entire life can change in an instant. Be grateful for it and do whatever good you can with it. So use your life to the fullest. You are not promised tomorrow, so you need to live largely every day. And this lesson is a hard one because it is so true. Like, tomorrow's not guaranteed. It's so hard to believe that. And it can be either a motivator or something that makes you really, really sad. And it's done both for me. But I was just recently at this leadership program, and they did this whole segment on, like, your life is not a joke. And it's not guaranteed. Like, your life is not guaranteed. You only have this one life to live, and make it an impactful one. Make it one that people remember. And they say something about, like, on their grave, they don't want to have it say rest in peace. They say they want it well used. And that his life was used up. It made an impact. He did all the things. And I love that. And because it's like, he doesn't want to rest in peace. He's not a well-rested man. He wants his kids to look at his dead body and say, wow, that is one used man. And that is the way that I want to live my life as well. But I think so often we get caught in these little day problems, and we forget that we're breathing today, and we forget that we're living, and we forget that we have this beautiful life, even though it is hard, and there's days that are so hard, and we have challenges and adversities, but we have one life, and we get to decide what we make of it. And so live it to the largest, because everything can change in a moment. And that is a lesson that I learned, and it can either motivate you or be something sad, but I think it's a little bit of a motivator, in that live every day to the largest. And ask yourself, what does living to the largest mean for me? All right, lesson number 13, start before you're ready. Oh, this one, oh my gosh, this is such an important lesson. So many people put everything they want to do on the back burner. Like, I want to start a business. I want to start working out, blah, blah, blah. And they never start because there's so many excuses of why we're not ready. I mean, I didn't start right away with this podcast, but I did start when I wasn't ready. But it's like all the excuses come up. Well, I don't have the right equipment. I don't have the right camera. I don't have the right space, the right background. No, those are just all excuses. If you have a phone in your hand, you could start a YouTube channel today. You don't need a fancy camera. Those are all just excuses that we tell because we're scared. But when you start before you're ready, you will receive so much. And one thing that helps me in this mindset as well is that I was given everything that I need to succeed. This door, let's say this door would not open, this opportunity would not have been given to me if I don't have everything I need to succeed within it. And that really helps me. And that's a mindset that I have, that I'm like, when I start feeling like I can't do this, yes, I can. I have everything I need to do this. But starting before you're ready is so important, or else you'll never start. You just truly won't. And this is with my podcast, with my YouTube channel, all the things that I've done. If you don't start before you're ready, you're never going to start doing it. And that was a huge lesson that I had to learn. All right. Lesson number 14. Oh, I could talk about this one for a whole episode. So if you want growth, you have to push yourself outside of your comfort zone, period. Period. You have to push yourself outside of your comfort zone to be the best version of you. And I hate saying it like that, but if you want to experience growth, you have to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. But here's the kicker, okay? So here's your comfort zone. I got my hands up in a little circle, right? Here's your comfort zone. You step outside of that comfort zone, right? And you're outside that comfort zone, and then you start to get comfortable. And so that means that your comfort level has then grown. Now what? Now you have to push yourself again outside of your comfort zone again and again and again, because things start to get comfortable, and we like comfortable and we stay where it's comfortable, but that's not going to help us. That's not going to help us. If we stay comfortable, we are not going to grow, and it's not going to help us. And so I challenge you to go outside of your comfort zone this week. It could be something as simple as talking to the person who serves you coffee. That could be really pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. Or it could be simply going out and maybe doing a date for yourself, being alone, because that could be pushing. That's not comfortable for you. That could be pushing outside of your comfort zone. But the most important thing about pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone is acknowledging that your comfort zone will grow. So the more that you push yourself outside of your comfort zone, it will become comfortable, and then you need to push again. And I find in my life, I'm constantly like, okay, I'm getting comfy. Let's go. What am I going to do? And then the next day I jump out of a plane because I'm like, I got too comfy. I need to do something wild and crazy. That scares me. And I really feel like I don't live my life in the panic zone, but I try to live, that's one of my lessons coming up. I don't try, but I do live my life in a state where I'm constantly aware of what I'm doing. And if I get comfortable, I might stay there a week, and then I'm like, okay, time to shift, time to do something else. All right, lesson number 15. We're getting to the end here. So life is what you make of it. Whatever you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So we get the opportunity every single day to live our lives, and we get to choose how we're going to do that, which is so crazy. And, I think there's a lot of external factors and environmental factors, but we truly have so much control over how we respond to the world, how we respond to our day, and we get to make our life what we want it. Every single thing we do is a decision. So, for example, if you're choosing to get a job, that was a decision. Sometimes, of course, you need the money, you got to do it. But if you're actively choosing to not follow your dreams and not do what you truly want, that's you choosing the life that's making your life. And that's a decision. And becoming accountable for the decisions that you make is so hard, but also another thing that I've learned. And I take full accountability of the decisions I make, because I am going to make my life an extraordinary one. It is not going to be the same as everyone. It is going to be a crazy, fantastic life. All right, number 16, try is a powerless word. As Yoda said, do or do not, there is no try. When you use the word try, you're letting yourself have the excuses. Well, I tried to start that workout thing, but I didn't. Or I did the workouts. There's such a huge difference to that. And it is a powerless word that is used in our society so much. And I have been getting rid of that word. I have not been trying to get rid of the word try. I have been getting rid of that word. And it's kind of when you start being aware of where you're using the word try, you're just going to start noticing it everywhere. But it's such a powerless word, and it doesn't help us. And that was a really big lesson for me, where I'm like, I'm not going to try to do anything. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the thing. And there's so much power, like even in just saying, I'm going to do my homework and get a good grade in this class. Rather, well, I'm trying to do my homework and get a good grade in this class. There's such a different aspect. It's completely different. All right, number 17, you have to rest to be your best. Oh my gosh, this is so important. I am from a family of workaholics. My whole life, I have done 700 things, never just one thing, 700 things. And I was a slave to working and achieving, but my body would quit on me. I had experiences where my mental health would get so bad, and I had literal panic attacks. Like, you have to rest to be your best. It is so simple. It's a simple thing, but it is so important. And it's important that we don't rest too much because there's extremes. But I was definitely on the other extreme where I was constantly working, never giving myself time. But it's so important that we rest and give ourselves time to recharge, reconnect. And I love to do it when I'm alone. That's how I recharge and reconnect. Or like taking a break from work, because you can't be a machine. You're not a machine. You can't work 100% and be effective the whole time. So if you want to put out good work, you need to rest and give yourself that rest. All right, number 18. We're so close to the end now. Sometimes the world will try to tell you who you are, but if you don't stop, reflect, and listen, you will never be able to hear what is important to you. And this is so powerful that I've been really learning over the last little bit, is that the world is telling me who I am, what I need to do with my life. But the beautiful thing about life is that there is no right or wrong path. And like I said at the beginning, I'm a black or white thinker. Or I used to be. And that means that there's a right or wrong answer. So that means that there's a problem to be solved. And I treated life like that. Like there's a problem to solve. I need to become better. And there's something wrong with me. So that's the issue. Now we need to solve that issue. But also just that, like, it's so crazy to me that we're so afraid of making the right or wrong decision in life. But it's so crazy because who is to say that that is right or wrong? Everybody's going to have their opinions, of course. But if the path feels right to you, then there's no right or wrong. It's a right path for you. It's not a wrong path. It's what makes you happy. But the world will tell us what we want if we don't quiet our minds, reflect, and listen to what we truly want. Because we don't ask ourselves, well, what do I truly want? I know I never did until this last little bit. It was always, what does everybody else want? But the moment that we start putting ourselves first is the moment that we truly start living. I do believe that, because we are doing what we want because we want to do it. All right, lesson number 19. Accept the parts of you that you think are bad or negative. Befriend the anxiety. Befriend the perfectionist. Befriend the parts of you that you don't think are good. I was told so long that my learning disabilities were something that were bad and negative. Once I embraced them and just said, hey, like, they're here. This is how they work. This is how they affect me. Everything changed. Everything changed. Same with my perfectionism, my anxiety. I used to be trying to get rid of these things. I was going to therapy, like, solve me, fix me, change me. But then I realized, no, these are parts of me that at one point they saved me, but these are important parts of me that I needed to be successful at one point. But it's just befriending them and like having a conversation with the parts of you like that. It was one of the biggest pieces of growth that I experienced, where I was not trying to fix myself anymore. I was just trying to see what's all there and learn how to work with it, because I was trying to get rid of all the negative things, or the things that I thought were negative, for so long. And once I accepted them, it was life-changing. All right, step number 20, so important. Getting help is the most important thing. Do not struggle alone. Do not struggle alone. I'm talking to you right now. Do not struggle alone. The best thing I ever did for myself was get help. And I always was just trying to do it on my own, figure it all out. I'll make it through. I was like, I don't need therapy. I don't need counseling. I can do this on my own. But let me tell you, when you can take that weight off your back, oh my gosh, it is relieving. When you can unpack it with someone, like, I'm not saying you need to go get therapy. I'm not saying that, even though I really do think everybody should, because there's so much to get from it. But I just think that for so many of us, we struggle alone. We think we're alone. And I have done this so many times where I'm like, I'm the only one feeling this. And I no longer do that, because I'm like, I'm not the only one who feels anxious, who has anxiety, who is overworked. And it's so important that we get help, though. And then you're not embarrassed to get help, because we all struggle. And that's the truth. We all struggle. And so we need to do that work. We need to do the work, but we need to get help and not struggle alone. That's one of the biggest lessons that I could leave you with. All right. The 21st lesson, the very last lesson. Okay, you guys, I am so ready for this. This is the best lesson of life. Okay, so you are a student of life. Keep learning, evolving, and expanding your mind. And the most important thing that I've said a couple times already is do new things. fail, to make the mistakes, to learn, but remember that you are a student of life. And that is something that has helped me so much in life, that I'm always ready to learn. I'm like a little sponge, and let me soak it all up. I'm like, here's an experience, here's a challenge that I've been through. What is it teaching me? What are the opportunities I have from it? But you have to keep learning, evolving, and expanding your mind as humans is so important. And that's one of the lessons that I think is so important. Like, all these 21 lessons are so important. But the most important thing is to be a student of life, to keep learning, to make mistakes, evolve, and expand your mind. It's the most important thing. All right, so that is the 21 lessons that I'm sharing with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been so much fun. I'm so excited to see all the things that come out. And again, thank you so much for showing up and listening. It honestly means the world to me. And if you ever enjoy this show or want to send me a message, please feel free to. It is all in the episode notes, the information on how to contact me. And it just genuinely lights my heart when I read the comments about the podcast episodes and what people think of it. And it truly keeps me going in some ways, where I'm like, wow, this truly is making an impact. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And now we are going to hear a little clip of my friends that was a little bit improv. And you're going to hear a couple clips of it, and it's very exciting. But thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing day. I love you so much. Bye.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Here with Selina.
Here with Selina. Today on the podcast, we have two special guests. Guest number one, Aiden, and we've got
Great name.
Enzo.
Nice to meet you.
We've got these two gentlemen on the mic with me because we were at school and they really wanted to be on it. So we're gonna do a little something crazy, and they're gonna talk about things that is what's gonna happen. So first, we need to know a little bit of information about you. So Enzo, why don't you go first, because you're shaking your head at me. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I am 19 years old. I like sports, hanging out with my friends, quality family time, and I am originally from Mexico.
Oh,
good introduction.
Great, awesome. Okay, Aiden, introduce yourself. Give us a little.
First of all, Selina, I'd just like to thank you for having us on the pod. I know it took a lot of convincing, but I really appreciate it. As I said earlier, my name's Aiden Byron Iverson. I am second year, Mount Royal University. It's awesome. Me and Selina have been best friends for 5 years now.
Was it
since I'm 22 now? It's been quite a while. Just a year older than Selina. Yep.
Jeez, you're
okay,
22.
Talk a little less about me and a little bit more about you, Aiden. What do you do in your spare time?
What do I do in my spare time? I'm not sure. I don't do very much. It's schoolwork. Watching hockey. That's about it. Hanging out with my best buddy Enzo, and obviously my best friend Selina. Throwing it back to Selina.
Awesome. Thank you for those introductions. So today on the podcast, I was going to share 21 life lessons that I've learned. And so I want to ask you two to start us off. Tell us one life lesson you've learned that's really helped you in your journey.
I can go first.
I was going to say, I'm going to let Enzo go first. I'm going to have to think.
He's jumping on it.
Something I read from a book called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius and Marcus Aurelius, by the way, used to be a Roman emperor. He was the most powerful man on the planet. And the book Meditations is pretty much a journal, which was personal to him. It was never intended to be out for the public to see, about different life lessons and different goals for him and how to be a sort of stoic person.
Mm-hmm.
So something that he said that I really liked, and I already told both of you guys this, was most people suffer more in imagination than reality, which basically translates to the scenarios that we make up in our head, which are so preposterous and just out of the question insane, will never really happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time we think of the worst possible outcome and brace for the worst. But in doing so, we stress ourselves past any point necessary.
Yeah, and we like create these stories in our own heads and we play out the scenes,
Mhm.
we do all the things, but in reality, like we stress about so many things that never even happen.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's a beautiful one. I was
Oh, thank you.
thinking something very similar because I know you said it earlier. So you didn't say.
Well,
I was
hold
gonna
on,
try
hold
and
on a
steal it.
second, Aiden. I want to just jump back in here. Like that was amazing, Enzo. Like you
thank
need your own podcast, inspiring people, because I mean, you have an act for it. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
And now I'm excited to have you back on the podcast because you only have a couple more minutes. But thank you. That was really amazing, and I love how you talked about that.
Thank you.
Aiden, it is your turn.
Well, I'm glad that I get the pleasure of having the camera on me this
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't really have a point. I know I've learned a lot, but there's nothing that really comes to mind right now.
Something you use day by day.
Yeah.
by day.
Whenever
Okay,
you
what-
see
what
whenever
gets
you
you
see
out of
some
bed?
uncertainties, maybe when you're stressed or uncertain about something, you have any anything to ground you, anything to keep you on the right path?
Honestly, one thing that I've really implemented over the last year is just I know I'm not going to die. Say something I want to have happen doesn't happen. It's not my end.
Mhm.
I'm going to live past it.
Mhm.
Coming up in the next few days, I have a few essays that I need to do.
Mhm.
I feel quite behind,
Mhm.
and I know that I have time to do it, but I know that if things don't turn out as I want them to right now, like my plan for today was to grind them all day.
And now you're here.
But
doing
let's be
just-
honest,
It clearly didn't happen.
we know that's not going to happen. We know me. That's not
Right,
going to happen.
right.
It's going to be a last minute thing, but I have to keep in mind that whatever happens, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's it comes down to that with this situation,
Yeah.
but also with say you have a midterm. This is something I used on my midterms this year is when it came down to it and I was done, say I felt good about it, say I didn't.
Mhm.
It's not my end.
Yeah.
I can still pass
Absolutely.
the class.
Yeah.
It might not feel good for a week, but I live.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's like saying like it's not as big as it seems. Like in the
Yeah.
moment we are living things so like so intensely. We're like, this is the end. I'm never gonna survive after this test this week. Like I'm so busy, I'm so behind. Like I feel the exact same right now.
Yeah.
And it is a lot, but it's like things are not as intense as they are in the moment.
100%.
And when you step
Absolutely.
back and be like, you know what? Today we're just gonna get through the day and
Yeah.
that's gonna be enough.
Exactly. And thinking back on last year, I know this time, oh my goodness, I was so stressed.
Mhm.
I just met this guy. We had 2
This
weeks.
guy.
This
Oh,
guy
yeah.
right here. We had 2 weeks to do a whole
Or
semester work.
Four
with
assignments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking back, not bad.
Yeah.
It felt terrible in the moment.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Like we were advised to drop that
Yeah.
class.
We met with our teacher.
Yeah.
She literally told us, if I were you guys, I would drop the class.
Really.
And we were like, well, personally, I was like, yeah, I paid you $500. I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
that. Like
Try me.
I'm not taking the W
Yeah.
on my record. So I looked at Aiden and I looked at Demetrius. God knows where he is, but hopefully he's doing good. Our other group mate. And I
Bless him.
said, all right, I'm gonna stay in the class.
Yeah.
If y'all want to tough it out, I'm gonna do it with y'all. If not, I'm gonna still do it.
Yeah.
And we toughed it out. We got a semester's worth of work done on the last week of school
Oh my gosh.
with all of our other classes just swamped on top. I think this
Yeah.
guy had like 11 essays to
Wow.
do.
I had 7 essays in that week.
Oh my
7
gosh.
essays, and we just clocked it out. Our last assignment was a presentation. Literally finished the presentation the morning of the presentation. 5 minutes before we went up.
You had it done.
5 minutes before we went up.
Yeah.
We were finished. Last sentence right there. And then, all right, next group. We went up. We improvised a little, but we did good. I don't remember what we got on
There's
that.
nothing like a
We got
deadline
an
to
80
get.
on that
We got an 80 on
presentation.
we got an
And-
80 on that presentation.
And in the papers that we wrote, 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, like deadlines. Am I right? They can
Deadlines.
Yeah.
get that stuff done.
Well, 100%. And yeah, that was crazy.
Mhm.
I couldn't even believe that we did it.
Yeah.
Like I
Miracle happened.
you know,
It was a miracle. It
I-
was a
I'm
miracle.
pretty sure that prof has a photo of us.
There's no way she does not bring it up at least once a semester. When somebody says, "Oh, I can't do this work, I'm so behind,"
Uh,
we are
you're
that
the example.
exactly.
Champion.
We're the outliers.
Absolute champions. Yeah. Well, it wasn't even just the work that we had against us. We had our classmates against us as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Oh, nobody was rooting for you and you just.
They
you
were
just
trying
did
to
it.
bring us down.
Our classmates were a little
Ruthless.
ruthless is a good way to put it.
Brutal.
For example, one of the students didn't show up on the day where we were choosing when to present.
Mhm.
And so the class voted to make him present first. And so it was just fed him to the wolves. Kid showed up, didn't know what he was doing, but
Yeah.
hopefully, luckily we were in that class.
Yeah.
And so we got to choose when we presented.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. You know, I ask all my guests this question because it's my favorite question. So I'm going to ask you guys and then we're going to wrap it up, but take as long as you want to answer it. But if you could tell your younger self a piece of advice, what would that be? Because how old are you guys?
I'm 19.
You're 19, you're 12. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Sorry, how?
I think I said I was 22 earlier.
Yeah, but how old are you really?
19.
19.
19.
So you're 19, you know, you're adults. What would you go back and tell your younger self?
I think I know, but mine's
Okay.
gonna be super cliche.
Go for
Okay,
it.
jump
Go
in.
for
I love cliche.
I would just tell my younger self it's gonna be all right. I know when I was younger, I was super nervous kid.
Mhm.
Like everything I did, I'd think about it 10 times over to make sure it was the right move.
Yeah.
And even thinking about my future, nothing felt good
Mhm.
whatsoever. Like going to school every day, tough.
Yeah.
Even when I graduated,
Mhm.
I felt better. But when I knew the university was starting, holy crap. I thought that was game over for me.
Mhm.
But looking back, I just wish I could tell myself that I had so many amazing people in my life. Like if I would have known that I would meet this guy, first class of my first semester, what's going on?
Yeah.
Lucky me.
Yeah.
And I would have such amazing friends from high school, such as Selina and Mario. You know, that's really my support through all this. So I wish I could go back and just say to my
No.
parents that everything would be good.
I love that because I'm a person who worries too, and it becomes so heavy because you're like every single little thing you do, you overanalyze and
Yeah.
you just it becomes a lot. So that's great advice.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to it, and stuff feels impossible when you get into that kind of slump,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, wise words. Let's go. Okay, Enzo, it's your turn to shine.
Okay. I was trying to narrow it down between two.
Yeah.
But I think I'll just tell you both. Just
Okay.
to
Tell
leave
me
you that
both.
extra little
Yeah.
nugget.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the first one, which I was gonna say during our first question, life lessons.
Yeah.
Because if I could go back in time and talk to my younger self, I'd definitely say if it's not gonna bother you in 5 years, then you shouldn't let it bother you today.
I've heard that. That's good stuff.
That's a good
Right?
one.
Because it's like I use that all the time when, maybe I'm having an argument with a friend or I'm running late on a deadline. Like at the end of the day, you blink and you could blink and 10 years go by,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And like it's all just gonna slip by, and it's gonna be a lot worse if you stress the whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
And then the second little tip I'd have would be cherish it. All of it. The bad, the good, the ugly,
Yeah.
right? And, like the breakups, the makeups, being with friends, losing friends, going on trips, doing homework, all of it, because at the end of the day, that's what ultimately led you to be you,
Damn.
right? So
Amazing
Speechless.
point.
Oh my gosh. No, I
Wow.
love that so much. I think like that is so important that, we enjoy the journey
Mhm.
because so many people are just looking for that milestone. When I get this, then I'll be happy. When I get this, then I'll be happy. But it's so important to cherish the whole way through because it made you who you are today.
exactly.
Oh, I love that.
That's
So good.
darn it, making my answer look puny, man. What's going on?
No, both
Nah,
of
dude,
yours are
your answer was
equally
good.
good. No, I love all of your guys' answers, but that was so deep, unexpectedly
I know.
deep. I was not expecting that from you too. But no, I really appreciate that. And do you guys have any last words, any last golden nuggets you want to leave with the audience? Anything you want to say? I will have you both back on here. I already can tell by the way that this has gone.
Very excited.
Yep.
But is there anything else you want to leave with the audience?
I gave away my golden nugget. So Aiden, it's all you.
Trying to think of any golden nuggets that I may have anywhere on me, and I really can't think of anything in regards to nuggets. I wish Mario was here because I know that guy has a few nuggets.
Any last remarks? It doesn't have to be a nugget. It can just be a last remark.
Anything.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Selina, for having us on. I know that I'm looking forward to the next time.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely crack a few jokes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting because these guys were giggling and yeah, they're like, oh, we'll be serious. And I'm like, yeah, fat chance that's happening. And they come in here and they gave me some really good stuff. I love it.
Well, walking over here, I've never seen Selina so nervous.
Yeah,
She knew it was over.
Pretty nerve-wracking for her.
Well, you just never know what is going to happen, but it's exciting. And so we will have you guys back for your very own episode.
Fantastic. Make sure to subscribe for the R-rated version.
Can you hit me with the green button really quick?
I got you. That's your outro music.
See, that's the reaction to us leaving, Selina.
Yeah.
Need us on for a little bit longer.
Sad, but I really want to thank you guys. That was
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Thank you. It was awesome.